Yeah, the thing I find most tricky is when people don't recognize you particularly, but half recognize you.
The boy who stuttered so badly that classmates called him an alien became the world's most beloved comedian. But Rowan Atkinson's transformation came at a cost. He discovered his stutter disappeared completely when he performed. But only then. Every Mr. Bean episode drained him emotionally. He called the character exhausting and looked forward to filming ending. The man who made millions laugh admitted he felt like a fraud. Now at 70, he's revealing how his childhood trauma shaped everything. The silent comedian finally found his voice to tell his story. Rowan Sebastian Atkinson was born on January 6, 1955, in Consett, a small town in County Durham, England. He was the youngest of 4 boys, but something sad happened before he was even old enough to remember. His eldest brother, Paul, died as a baby, leaving just 3 brothers. One of Rowan's brothers, Rodney, later became an economist and almost became the leader of the UK Independence Party in 2000. Growing up on a farm, Rowan lived a very quiet and disciplined life. But the funny thing is, he would one day become famous for playing loud, silly characters. When Rowan was around 5 years old, he started having a serious stutter. He couldn't get words out smoothly, and it made school very hard. He went to Durham Chorister School, where the bullying was cruel. Canon John Grove, who worked there, remembered Rowan as a shy boy with a rubbery face and a speech problem. Some of his classmates even said he looked like an alien. They laughed at the way he talked and the way he looked, and Rowan spent most of his time alone. One of the kids at that school was Tony Blair, who would later become Prime Minister. Tony was 2 years younger and remembered how tough things were for Rowan. The bullying was so bad that a 2007 article in The Independent talked about it. But something strange happened when Rowan went on stage. His stutter would disappear completely. He could perform without any trouble at all. That painful part of his childhood became the key to his gift. Even with the bullying, Rowan was brilliant in school. He got top grades in his Science A-levels and earned a spot at Newcastle University in 1973. When he was just 18, he studied electrical and electronic engineering. People thought he would go on to become a scientist or an engineer, not a comedian. He graduated in 1975 at the age of 20. After that, he followed in his father's footsteps and went to the Queen's College, Oxford, for a master's degree. His MSc focused on something very complex called self-tuning control systems. He even started work on a PhD, but didn't finish it. He felt something pulling him in a different direction. His teacher, Chris Robson, once said Rowan didn't stand out in class. But the moment he stepped on stage, he became a different person. That's when the real transformation began. While studying at Oxford in 1975, Rowan joined the drama club and a review group called the Etceteras. It was during this time that he met a young writer named Richard Curtis. This meeting would change both of their lives. Richard saw Rowan perform for the first time at a rehearsal in early 1976. He later said there was a quiet, funny-looking guy standing in the corner. But when Rowan finally performed, Richard was blown away. Rowan did a sketch about driving and a bit where he mimed while speaking at the same time. Richard called it pure genius. That same year, in August 1976, Rowan performed with the Oxford Revue at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. It was his first time performing for a big national audience. The show was a success, and Rowan's path was suddenly clear. He was no longer just an engineer, he was a performer. In 1975, while still at Oxford, Rowan officially started his master's degree in electrical engineering. His research was serious, and he published his thesis in 1978. But he spent more and more time acting. The contrast between engineering and comedy made things complicated. Still, that technical background stayed with him. Years later, he would become one of the first celebrities to buy electric cars. He bought his first hybrid 18 years before 2023 and his first fully electric car 9 years before that same year. He also used his knowledge to speak critically about electric vehicle technology and environmental claims. But even with all this, it was clear his true love was comedy. The theater had become his home. His first big moment came in 1979 when he created a radio show called The Atkinson People for BBC Radio 3. He played a bunch of fictional characters like Sir Corin Basin and French philosopher Georges Dupont. Richard Curtis helped write it, and Griff Rhys-Jones produced it. Although it was funny and smart, the show didn't get many listeners. It aired in a slot that wasn't made for comedy, so few people heard it. Still, critics saw how talented he was. It was recorded in stereo sound, just like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Even though it didn't make him famous, it showed that Rowan was ready for something bigger. Between 1978 and 1979, things got tough. The BBC rejected him again and again. They didn't understand his comedy. He felt lost and depressed. His stutter got worse during interviews and auditions, and that made things even harder. At one point, he thought about quitting comedy and going back to engineering, but something happened that changed everything. He realized that when he played a character, his stutter vanished. That discovery gave him power. He didn't need to speak perfectly as himself. He could let the characters do the talking. Rowan kept working with old friends like Angus Deayton, whom he had met at Oxford. They performed together on radio, and Angus often played the serious straight man. This helped Rowan shine with his wild characters. Angus later appeared in Mr. Bean and in an episode of Blackadder. Their teamwork gave Rowan confidence during a time when TV was still rejecting him. It let him grow without the pressure of being on camera all the time. In 1979, Rowan went back to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He was now 24 years old. He was even seen helping build the stage and clear rubble at the new Wireworks Theatre. His show was mostly silent, like an old Buster Keaton film. Some people didn't get it and even walked out, but others saw something special. He used his face and body in a way few comedians ever could. That performance helped him connect with the right people in the industry. By 1980, he started trying for TV again. He created a pilot called Canned Laughter that aired in 1979. He played multiple roles, including a very early version of Mr. Bean. The show was clever but didn't get picked up as a series. His stutter returned during many of these auditions, making things even more stressful. But he began to understand how to beat it. He threw himself into his characters completely. By the time he appeared on Wogan in 1980, at age 25, he had mastered how to hide his stutter through performance. That was the beginning of the end of the struggle. From that moment, the world began to take notice of a strange, quiet boy who had turned pain into laughter. Rowan Atkinson's life changed forever in 1979. That was the year the BBC gave him a chance on a new comedy show called Not the 9 O'Clock News. It was supposed to air in April, but got pushed back because of a general election. BBC thought the show might be too political at that moment. The first episode finally aired on October 16, 1979, but things didn't go well. Almost no one watched it. Less than 1 million viewers tuned in. Critics hated it. Some called it offensive and even said it should never be on television. Mel Smith, who would later become a close co-star, said it was the worst half-hour of TV he had ever seen. But surprisingly, the BBC controller liked it. He ordered another series immediately. That decision saved the show and made it one of the most important British comedy shows ever. Rowan worked alongside Pamela Stephenson, Mel Smith, and Griff Rhys-Jones, and they all became stars. Behind the scenes, things weren't so smooth. In 1980, after just one series, Chris Langham was fired. Rowan didn't agree with this. He tried to convince the producers to keep Chris, showing how loyal he was. But Chris was still removed and replaced by Griff Rhys-Jones. The fallout was so bitter that Chris refused to talk to any of them for years. On top of that, the BBC started cutting the show's budget. It got so bad that they even joked about it in an episode called The Outrageously Expensive Not the 9 O'Clock News. They had to stop filming in fancy locations and cut smaller roles. During this time, Rowan's serious and perfectionist side started to show. The tone of the show also changed. It moved away from shock humor and leaned more into clever and odd comedy. There were clear signs of creative disagreements behind closed doors. Then came the moment that changed everything for Rowan. In 1980, during the second series, a sketch called Gerald the Gorilla aired. Mel Smith played a professor who claimed to have trained a gorilla named Gerald. But Gerald, played by Rowan in a gorilla suit, turned out to be smarter and angrier than anyone expected. When the professor said he caught Gerald in the wild in 1968, Gerald snapped, shouting, "Wild! I was absolutely livid!" That line became famous. The sketch became so popular that real scientists jokingly started calling groups of baboons a flange, just like in the sketch. The episode helped the show win the Silver Rose at the Montreux Festival. In 1982, it also won the BAFTA for Best Light Entertainment Program. That one sketch helped launch Rowan's career as a master of physical comedy and strange humor. It also set the stage for his future roles in Blackadder and Mr. Bean. In 1981, something even more surprising happened. The show released a comedy song called I Like Trucking as part of the album Hedgehog Sandwich. The song became a hit. No one expected Rowan, who had no music background, to be part of a charting single. But he was. All 4 cast members sang it together, and Rowan actually drove the truck in the sketch himself. He wasn't pretending. He held a real Class 1 lorry license at the time. That small fact made the sketch even more authentic and funny. The song was released as a single under BBC Records and became popular enough to be featured on BBC compilations later. It proved that Rowan wasn't just a sketch comedian, he could do more. He could sing, act, drive, and entertain across different formats. But by 1982, things took a dark turn. The show ended in March that year, and it wasn't because of ratings. It was because the cast, including Rowan, had reached a breaking point. They were exhausted. The fast pace, the pressure, the writing, the acting, the anxiety. It all became too much. Rowan, in particular, was struggling. He had long battled anxiety, and the workload pushed him to his limits. So instead of riding their success and continuing for money or fame, they walked away. Pamela Stephenson went to Hollywood. Rowan jumped straight into filming Blackadder in 1983. Mel Smith and Griff Rhys-Jones created their own show, Alas, Smith and Jones. The decision to quit at the height of their popularity was rare. It showed how much Rowan valued mental health and artistic integrity over money. On June 15, 1983, Rowan launched The Blackadder. It was a wild idea. He co-created it with Richard Curtis, the same man he had worked with during Not the 9 O'Clock News. They imagined a world where Richard III had won the Battle of Bosworth Field. Rowan played Prince Edmund, a sneaky and power-hungry son of King Richard IV. They shot at Alnwick Castle and used huge sets and costumes. The show was a big gamble. It was even part-funded by Australia's 7 network. They added a joke in the credits, saying, "Additional dialogue by William Shakespeare," just to poke fun. It was a creative leap, but it was also very expensive. The costs were so high that after the first series, the BBC nearly cancelled it. Rain kept ruining the shoots. The castle filming dragged on. The period costumes and giant cast lists blew up the budget. Reviews weren't even that good. Critics thought it wasn't as funny as Rowan's earlier work. Only one thing saved it: the International Emmy the show won. That award gave the BBC enough confidence to give it another chance. But this time, they made strict changes. No more castles, no more big sets. The next season would be smaller, cheaper, and sharper. That decision completely changed the show's future. In 1986, Blackadder 2 premiered. Everything was new. Ben Elton joined as co-writer, bringing faster jokes and tighter stories. They dropped the huge film scenes and focused on character moments. Rowan no longer had to share the spotlight with bigger actors like Brian Blessed. He now carried the show. One of the biggest changes was the cast. Miranda Richardson played Queenie, a squeaky and hilarious queen that audiences immediately loved. There were legendary guest appearances too, like Tom Baker as Redbeard Rum, who was unforgettable. Rowan's character, Edmund, became sarcastic and clever, while Baldric, who used to be smart, turned into the lovable idiot fans adored. At first, some fans were upset. A critic even named Rowan Wally of the Week. But over time, public opinion changed. People realized this version was even better. The characters were deeper, the jokes were sharper, and the chemistry was perfect. The final season, Blackadder Goes Forth, aired in 1989 and became something no one expected. It was set in the trenches of World War I. Rowan played Captain Blackadder. Hugh Laurie was Lieutenant George, and Tony Robinson was Private Baldric. It was funny, but also serious. It showed the pointlessness of war without losing its humor. People were nervous that making jokes about World War I might be disrespectful, but it wasn't. It was powerful. It won Best Comedy Series at the 1990 BAFTAs. Rowan also won Best Light Entertainment Performance. In 2000, the show was ranked 16th on the British Film Institute's list of Best British Shows Ever. And in 2004, it was voted second in a BBC poll for Britain's Best Sitcom, with over 282,000 votes. The final scene, where the soldiers charge into no man's land in slow motion, became one of the most emotional endings in television history. Behind the scenes, the cast worked like a family. Rowan, Hugh Laurie, and Stephen Fry often improvised. They trusted each other. Rowan once said this was the least stressful project of his career because the pressure wasn't just on him. Everyone carried it together. Their chemistry made magic. Many of the improvised lines stayed in the final episodes. Rowan later said that what they had in the 1980s couldn't be recreated again. That was a special time. Then came Mr. Bean. The first episode aired on January 1st, 1990, and it was watched by 13.45 million people. Rowan had created the character years earlier while studying at Oxford. He barely spoke as Mr. Bean, which made it perfect for global audiences. The show was sold in 245 countries. One episode, The Trouble with Mr. Bean, was watched by 18.74 million people. It became one of the most popular comedy shows in the world. People didn't need to understand English to laugh. The physical comedy crossed every barrier. But behind all that laughter was something darker. Rowan was suffering. He admitted he didn't enjoy playing Mr. Bean. It was stressful. It drained him. He said the responsibility felt heavy and that he often looked forward to the end. Since the character barely talked, Rowan had to express everything with his body and face. That took an emotional toll. What the world saw as simple comedy was actually a painful performance for the man behind it. In 1997, Mr. Bean made it to the big screen. The movie Bean made over $251 million worldwide. Of that, more than $205 million came from international markets. In Australia, it opened at number 1 with $3.1 million. In the UK, it broke opening records by making $2.5 million. In Germany, it earned over 12 million Deutsche Marks in its first weekend. It became the fastest UK movie to reach $100 million even before releasing in the United States. But all that success only made Rowan feel more tired. He was already struggling with the character, and now the world wanted more of it. In 2002, he found a solution. He started Mr. Bean, the animated series. It began on March 2nd and ran until November 1, 2004. The show had 52 episodes. His format was a relief. Rowan only had to do the voice. No more exhausting physical work. The show became popular with children and moved to CITV. It introduced new characters and stayed true to the original. The animated version kept Mr. Bean alive without hurting Rowan's health. The series kept running, and by 2024, it was still being made. In 2012, Rowan brought Mr. Bean back for one more live performance during the London Olympics. He acted out a comedy bit during Chariots of Fire, and 26.9 million people in the UK watched it. Globally, 900 million people saw it. It was one of the most tweeted moments of the night. But the performance took a big toll on Rowan. It left him drained for weeks. Many people now see that moment as his last major appearance as Mr. Bean in full physical form. Even outside of Mr. Bean and Blackadder, Rowan kept surprising people. In 1994, he played a nervous priest in 4 weddings and a funeral. The movie was made for just $3 million and shot in 6 weeks. It made $245.7 million. His wedding scene, where he fumbles the vows, became iconic. That small role helped shape his next big character. In 2003, he starred in Johnny English, a spy parody. It made $160 million worldwide on a $40 million budget. It started from his old Barclay card ads. He performed action scenes, dance routines, and physical comedy. The success led to a sequel, Johnny English Reborn, in 2011. It had a $45 million budget. Though it only made $8.3 million in the US, international audiences loved it. In 2018, Johnny English Strikes Again hit theaters. The story involved a cyber attack and digital surveillance. Rowan used his real engineering background from Oxford to bring depth to the role. The film balanced old-school spy fun with modern tech fears, connecting with audiences worried about online safety. In 2005, Rowan tried something different with Keeping Mum. He played a pastor dealing with family problems. The movie didn't do well. Critics and viewers didn't respond. It was too dark for some and too odd for others. The failure made Rowan step back from film. He took 2 years off to focus on live shows and television before coming back strong with Johnny English Reborn. Rowan Atkinson first met Sunetra Sastry in the late 1980s. She was a makeup artist working on the BBC series Blackadder. Rowan actually switched makeup artists just so he could talk to her. That made his co-star Stephen Fry quietly disappointed because he had also wanted to ask her out. But Rowan got there first. They fell in love and got married on February 5, 1990, at the Russian Tea Room in New York. Stephen Fry was his best man. They had 2 children together. Their daughter Lily was born in 1993 and their son Benjamin in 1995. For 24 years, they stayed together. But everything changed in 2014. That year, Rowan and Sunetra separated. The divorce became final in November 2015. In court, Sunetra said Rowan was behaving unreasonably. At the same time, Rowan had quietly started seeing another woman, Louise Ford, who was much younger. The media exploded with headlines, and Sunetra was heartbroken to be replaced by someone so young. One terrifying moment in Rowan's life happened in March 2001. He was flying with his family in Kenya when their private pilot suddenly fainted in midair. Rowan had never flown a plane before, but he grabbed the controls and managed to keep the aircraft steady. He held on until the pilot woke up and safely landed the plane in Nairobi. Rowan was 46 years old at the time. That moment showed something people never expected from the man who played Mr. Bean. In real life, he stayed calm and saved everyone. He doesn't talk much about the emotional scars it left, but that flight could have ended in tragedy if he hadn't acted fast. In October 2012, Rowan gave a speech in Parliament that surprised a lot of people. It was about freedom of speech. He spoke for 9 minutes, defending the right to say things even if others find them insulting. He said too many things are called offensive and that people should be allowed to speak freely. That speech went viral, getting over 140,000 views in just a few days. But not everyone agreed with him. Some LGBTQ+ groups and progressive activists accused him of protecting hate speech. Still, the law did change. The part of the Public Order Act that banned insulting words was removed. People realized Rowan wasn't just a funny man. He had strong opinions and wasn't afraid to speak up. In 2013, while acting in a play called Quartermain's Terms, Rowan began a new relationship. He was 58 years old. His co-star Louise Ford was 31. She left her boyfriend, comedian James Acaster, to be with Rowan. Their age difference was 27 years, and many people called it a scandal. The news broke in 2014, around the same time Rowan separated from Sunetra. Reporters and fans judged them harshly, but Rowan didn't talk about it. He once said, "The only thing more important than not talking about your personal life is not talking about why you're not talking about it." In December 2017, Louise gave birth to their daughter Isla. Rowan became a father again at age 62. Rowan had always been seen as an environmental supporter. Since the 1980s, he drove electric and hybrid cars and spoke up about climate change. But in June 2023, he wrote an article in The Guardian that shocked everyone. The title was, "I love electric vehicles and was an early adopter, but increasingly I feel duped." In the article, he said, electric vehicles actually cause 70% more greenhouse gas emissions during production than normal cars. He criticized the batteries used in EVs. That article made headlines across conservative media like Fox Business. Environmental scientists were angry and said his claims were misleading. Then it came out that Rowan owned a huge collection of supercars, including rare McLarens and Aston Martins. Parliament even blamed his article for slowing down EV sales across the UK. His critics said he helped fossil fuel companies, even while enjoying a very high-carbon lifestyle. When Disney offered him the role of Zazu in The Lion King in 1994, Rowan didn't want to do it. He said he had never liked voice work, but he agreed anyway, and his voice became one of the film's most memorable parts. The Lion King earned $968.5 million around the world. It became Disney's highest-grossing hand-drawn film. Even though he didn't do the singing voice, his Zazu performance was a big hit. He didn't return for the 2019 remake, which still made $1.6 billion. Fans missed him. It was one of those strange moments where something he didn't want to do became one of the biggest wins of his career. In 2018, Rowan appeared on The Graham Norton Show and made a shocking confession. He said filming was very difficult and exhausting. He felt like nothing he did was ever good enough. Back in 2012, he had already told The Telegraph he wanted to retire Mr. Bean. He said watching someone in their 50s act childlike could feel a little sad. But in 2016, he changed his mind and said he would never retire the character. Then in 2018, he changed again and said Mr. Bean was unlikely to return, but added, "You must never say never." Fans were confused, but it showed just how hard it was for him to let go of the character that made him famous. Mr. Bean brought joy to millions, but for Rowan, it also came with pressure and burnout. In 2022, Rowan returned to physical comedy with a show called Man vs. Bee on Netflix. He played Trevor, a house-sitter trying to get rid of a single bee. Each of the 9 episodes lasted between 10 and 20 minutes. It looked like fun, but filming was hard on him. Rowan was 67 years old and doing stunts similar to his Mr. Bean days. He said during a previous movie, Mr. Bean's Holiday, even a bike scene left him completely exhausted. He admitted he wasn't athletic and never had been. Man vs. Bee was a return to the old style, but also a reminder that his body could no longer handle the same level of physical comedy. On January 6, 2025, Rowan turned 70. He was born in Newcastle upon Tyne and had been making people laugh for over 45 years. His birthday led to a lot of talk online. Fans posted their favorite clips and wished him well, but many also wondered if he would retire soon. Rowan himself had said before that it gets harder to do physical comedy as you age. He seemed more open to slowing down. Some felt it was the right time to say goodbye to Mr. Bean once and for all. By September 2025, the official Mr. Bean YouTube channel had over 12.01 billion views and 35.1 million subscribers. It made between $77,000 and $232,000 every month. Every day, it got 1.5 to 2.3 million views. The character had fans everywhere, from Tokyo to Mumbai to São Paulo. Even comedians like Sacha Baron Cohen said Mr. Bean's style influenced them. Comedy schools now teach something called the Atkinson method. It was simple, silent comedy that worked in every language. People began calling Rowan the 21st century Charlie Chaplin. He became more than a British actor. He became a global icon. In September 2024, a fan theory about Mr. Bean finally got confirmed. For years, people believed he was actually an alien. That theory turned out to be true in the animated episode Double Trouble. Mr. Bean meets clones of himself inside a spaceship. Screen Rant said the show officially confirmed he was not from Earth. Even the original show's opening hinted at it. Bean falls from the sky while a Latin chant plays saying, "Behold the man who is a bean." His name was just Mr., with no first name, like aliens didn't understand how humans are named. Rowan had hinted at it once in 1993, but now it was part of the story. Fans were shocked, but excited to know the truth. Even with all his self-doubt, Rowan's award record is impressive. He has won 12 major awards and been nominated 18 times. In 1981, he won a BAFTA for Not the 9 O'Clock News and a Laurence Olivier Award for Rowan Atkinson in Review. In 1990, he won Best Light Entertainment Performance for Blackadder Goes Forth. Mr. Bean alone got him 4 BAFTA nominations between 1991 and 1994. He also won an International Emmy. Despite all this, Rowan keeps saying he doesn't feel successful. He questions himself constantly. But for fans around the world, there's no question. He's one of the greatest ever.